God Shai Marhaba. After the Paris attack and terrorist incident in San Bernardino in California, I spoke about the source of terrorism as Wahhabism, and I spoke at length. Since I am a spiritual teacher and I have expertise in spirituality, theology, and I have also studied the difference between many dozen different denominations within Islam and comparative study, what differs between Wahhabi brand of Islam from Sunni brand of Islam, and then Shia brand of Islam. What is happening today in the world is directly linked with academic mischief that has taken place in academic scholars of the religion. And especially Muslims have reached a stage where they have developed an uncontrollable intolerance, and at the same time they have become blind of the truth to the truth. Muslim set of beliefs comes from the holy book of Quran, traditions of the Prophet, and custom of the Prophet. Some of the customs of the Prophet were to be imitated by the followers. However, there are certain customs of the Prophet which, as explained by the Prophet himself, were confined to himself, and nobody from among the followers of Prophet Muhammad were allowed to practice it. For example, Prophet Muhammad used to fast almost every day. Some of the very close companions of the Prophet started to do the same. And as a result of this, they had gotten physically weak, and the Prophet inquired the reason why they are getting weak physically. And they had to open up, and they said they were fasting because the Prophet was fasting almost every day. And the Prophet replied to them, some of the customs, some of my practices are confined to myself. You cannot imitate me. And when I fast almost every day, my Lord feeds me. So these were some of the examples which should be clearly understood. And one of the main reason why most of the Islamic scholars have gone astray is because they were not able to differentiate between customs of the Prophet which were allowed for the Ummah to be practiced, and some certain customs which were not good for the Ummah to imitate. For example, Prophet Muhammad had more than 4 wives at a time, but nobody in Muslim Ummah, according to Muslim faith, according to Quran, was allowed to keep more than 4 wives at a time, or nobody is allowed to keep more than 4 wives at a time. But Prophet Muhammad did have more than 4 wives at a time. But if you say, for example, Prophet Muhammad had 9 wives at a time, or 11 wives at a time, any follower from the Ummah would want to do the same because he thinks it's a custom of Prophet Muhammad. That is invalid. Of course, Prophet Muhammad did have more than 4 wives at a time, but that custom of the Prophet is confined to himself, and nobody else in the Ummah is allowed to do the same. And then, after the departure of Prophet Muhammad from this world, nobody can marry Prophet Muhammad's wives. However, according to Islamic faith, when husband of a wife dies, she goes through a period of iddah for 40 days, and then Sharia permits her to enter into a nikah with somebody else. But that is not the case with the wives of Prophet Muhammad. In a similar way, most of the verses of Quran were directly addressed to the Prophet Muhammad, unless until it is addressed to somebody like Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu or Ya ayyuhan nas. It's different. But if it is not mentioned who is being addressed, then it is directly addressed to Prophet Muhammad. Some Muslims are really very abusive to our mission, to myself. Recently, their abusive aggression has gone to their peak, and they are swearing at myself, and they're saying really bad stuff. I'm not put off. I just feel bad for them for a number of reasons. Reason number one, if you think you're a Muslim and you're a good Muslim, but your Islam is something different to what comes from the Quran, and you still think your belief system, even though it is not the same as mentioned in Quran, is good, I pity you. And then Quran, God's word, is not easy to understand. That is why so many Islamic scholars tried to translate, interpret Quran, and even so, Quran was not fully comprehended by many Muslims, and as a result of which Islam has been divided into more than 73 sects. And I pity Muslims when they are presented reference from Quran, and strangely enough, they don't concede. They become stubborn, rigid in their misguidance. If it is established in the light of Quran that what you are saying, what you are believing is wrong, then you should give in. Give in to Quran, not to anybody else. But in this day and age, everybody from Muslim Ummah has his own Quran in his mind. On paper, there are 73 sects, but practically speaking, every single person represents a different sect in the Muslim world today. Now, let me tell you what is the difference between a Sufi Muslim and a Muslim who doesn't practice Sufism. And let me also explain to you what Sufism itself, because it has been projected by anti-tasawwuf elements in the Islamic world, that Sufi teachings are not from Quran. They alienate Quran from Sufism and Sufism from Quran. Most of these sectarian elements within Islam reject Sufism, deny any legitimate status of Sufism in Islam. And it is such a pity that even with so many Sufis visiting in the past, visiting United States of America, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Germany, and they talked about Sufism. But no academic debate and argument was laid before public with the help of which they could have been able to provide themselves with academic evidence which would prove to them that Sufism is not a concocted bundle of beliefs, it is not a human fabrication, rather it is the gist of Quran, Bible and Torah. And those who say spirituality and Sufism solely come from Quran are wrong. Quran is one book, Bible is another book, Torah is another book. But when you talk about Sufism, you will find Bible, Torah and Quran, all three books in Sufi practice. Because Sufism is the gist of all religions, and without Sufism, religions stop benefiting its followers. Sufism is way of life. Sufism is way of temporal life and eternal life. Sufism teaches one to become a gentleman, to become a social compassion. And at the same time, Sufism connects one to the Godhead. Sufism carves your character. Sufism brings out the best in you. When you're a Sufi, first thing you will notice in a Sufi is that he is so sublime that he doesn't have ego. He doesn't think high of himself. A Sufi does not think high of himself. And this is not because he imposes on himself that he should not think high of himself. But it happens after a lengthy process of spiritual purgation, austerity, purification, and mortification of the self. And mortification of the self is a process in which you cleanse your character. You root out from your character all legitimate and illegitimate desires. And you stop thinking high of yourself. And this happens when God mirrors yourself into the mirror of your heart. According to one hadith, when God manifests His compassion upon His servant, first thing He does to His servant for his betterment, for his spiritual welfare, for his spiritual health, is to give him realization of his own flaws. He begins to notice his flaws. Without Sufism, you find flaws with others and you are blind to your own flaws. No matter what religion you practice, either you practice Islam, Christianity, Judaism, you will always find flaws in others and you will become blind to your own self. However, if you adopt spirituality, Sufism, you will be so busy in purifying your own self that you will hardly have enough time to find a flaw in others. A Sufi goes through a process of self-denial. Tell me, if you successfully learn to negate yourself, and on top of this, God also tells you of your flaws, and you begin to realize how flawful you are, will you be intolerant to anybody? You will begin to live under an ongoing guilt that you're so dirty, you're so filthy inside. Everybody else in this world is better than you. And when you don't practice Sufism, you believe very rigidly that you are the best of all. And when you think you are the best of all, this is first step towards becoming intolerant. And this is the reason why Wahhabis are so intolerant, because they think all other Muslims are heretics. And Wahhabis are pure Muslims and they practice purest form of Islam. They are the best Muslims. Now, because they think they're the best Muslim, therefore, they think all other Muslims are heretics, and waging a war against them is legitimate, and they call it jihad. When we say, what kind of jihad is this? A Muslim is killing another Muslim. They will not answer you. But their belief system is, yes, it is jihad. Because they are pure Muslims, and Sunnis and Shias and Sufis, they are heretics. They are murtad. Why do Wahhabis kill other Muslims? Because they regard all other Muslims as heretics, murtad. And they think punishment of a murtad according to Islamic faith is death sentence. Therefore, they are killing Muslims. Now, what is irtad? I tell you, listen to me carefully. If you switch religions, right? If you switch religions, for example, you are a Jew and you decide to become a Christian, that is not irtad. And you're a Christian and you decide to become a Muslim, this is not irtad. Or you're a Muslim and you decide to become a Christian, it is not irtad. What is irtad then? For example, you're a Jew and you say, I quit Judaism and I don't believe in God anymore. I reject God. This is irtad. If you're a Muslim and you say, I don't want to belong to Islam anymore and I don't believe in Allah, this is irtad. But if you believe in God, you're only switching religions. This is not wrong. A Jew can become a Christian at any time, and God doesn't have a problem with that. And a Christian can become a Jew at any time, and God shouldn't have a problem with that. And a Muslim can become a Christian or a Jew at any time, and God will not have a problem with that. Why? It's like Costco. One of their branch is in Croydon, another branch in Wembley, and another branch is in Manchester. All three branches come from the same owner. Either you shop at Costco in Manchester, or you shop at Costco in Croydon, or even in Toronto or New York. Now, I'm a member, executive member of Costco in Croydon. When I went to America, Cascade, Virginia, and I showed them my card and they said, yeah, you're good to shop here. In a similar way, like all these different branches of Costco come from the same owner, same company. In a similar way, Christianity was established by a prophet sent by same God. Judaism was established by a prophet sent by same God. Islam was established by a prophet sent by the same God. Torah is God's word. Bible is God's word. In a similar way, Quran is God's word. I mean, realistically speaking, God's word is God's word. All three books are from the same God. You cannot say Torah is greater than Bible, or Bible is greater than Torah, or Quran is greater than the both. Quran, Bible and Torah, all three divine holy books are equal in respect, divinity and worthiness. Do not think Quran is greater than Bible, or Quran is greater than Torah, or Torah is greater than Bible, or Bible is greater than Quran. They're the same. And if these books have been adulterated, even then you cannot say this one is greater, because we are not talking about adulteration in them. We're talking about true word of Bible. We're talking about true word of Torah. We're talking about true word of Quran. All three religions are monotheist religions. Why do you hate Jews? Why do you hate Christians? When you hate Jews, when you hate Christians, you are actually denying Quran. You are actually denying the basic principles of Muslim faith. According to Muslim faith, you have to believe in all the prophets. You have to believe in all the books sent by God. According to Muslim faith, there are 4 celestial books: Torah, Psalms of David, Bible and the Quran. And according to the basic principles of Muslim faith, you must believe the fact that all 4 celestial books are word of God. If you don't believe in all 4 books, if you don't believe in all the prophets sent by God, you do not qualify to be a Muslim. On one hand, you are bound by God to respect and believe all the prophets, and you are bound by God and Muslim faith and the principality of Islam that you must believe in all 4 celestial books. And on the other hand, you disrespect the Bible. You disrespect Torah, and you consider Christians as your enemies. Tell me, today's Muslims say Christians are our enemies, and they say this is according to Quran. I ask them today, when Prophet Mohammad started Islam in Mecca and Muslims were persecuted, why did Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam send his companions to the king, a Christian king, Najashi? You know Islam more than Prophet Muhammad did? If Christians were enemies, then why did Prophet Muhammad send his companions to seek asylum with a Christian king of Najashi? This is wrong. Christians are not your enemies. Christians are not your enemies. And Jews are not your enemies. Yes, I understand there is a conflict in Jerusalem, and Israelis kill Palestinian people, but Palestinian people also kill Israelis. Well, Israelis never killed a Pakistani Muslim. Israelis never killed a Malaysian Muslim. If they are enemies of Islam, why are they not hurting and harming Islam? Why they are only against Palestinian people? Because Palestinian people have been pain in the ass, and Palestinian people are under the curse of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Palestine has never been in rest, historically speaking. Messiah Foundation International, Mehdi Foundation International, we follow the teachings of Lord Raria's Gohar Shahi, the awaited one, and we consider Jews and Christians and Hindus and Sikhs our fellow human beings. We respect their religion, we respect their sovereignty, we respect their respect in the society. To us, all human beings are our friends. Jews are not our enemies, they are your enemies. And they are your enemies because of your ego, not according to Muslim faith. They are not your enemies according to Quran. They are not your enemies according to Islam. They are not your enemies according to the custom and practice of Prophet Muhammad. Number two, I have been delegated by my Lord Rariaz Gohar Shahi to speak the truth. And I will speak the truth. I am afraid of N-O-N-E, none. I am afraid of none. You swear at me and you abuse me, and I understand maybe Islam did not teach you anything else. That's all I can say. This is all you learned from Islam, and you cannot say you're doing it according to Prophet Muhammad's custom. Prophet Muhammad never abused anybody. Never ever. You must have heard the story of that woman who used to throw trash at Prophet Muhammad. And look at his character. Look at Prophet Muhammad's character. He is of sublime character. He is of sublime character. That Jew woman used to throw trash at Prophet Muhammad, and Prophet Muhammad would just smile and walk past. One day, when Prophet Muhammad did not change his way. Right? For example, if you walk to some place every day and you bumped into somebody who throw trash at you, and next day you walk through the area again, and then again that person throw trash at you, probably third day you will change your route. But Prophet Muhammad didn't do it. He continued to use that route. And he wasn't bothered by that woman throwing trash at him. But one day when Prophet Muhammad was walking through that route, Prophet Muhammad noticed that woman is not standing there with the trash in his hands. And he got really worried and he asked people, where is that woman today? And somebody said, she is not feeling well. She is running temperature. So Prophet Muhammad went to her house and asked her and said, I am really sorry to hear that you are not feeling well. Oh my gosh. This is how you turn enemies into friends. Through your character. Through your character, you turn enemies into your friends. And through characters of today's Muslim, you turn friends into enemies. With your lousy mouth. Whenever today's Muslims speak, they speak shit out of their mouth. And that woman started to cry. And said, if this is your character, I accept your religion. This was the character of Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad's character is the best. Right? And what is Sunnah? What is Sunnah? To align yourself in the character of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you practice Sunnah, custom of the Prophet, then how come your character is not like the character of Prophet Muhammad? Those who claim that they practice the custom of the Prophet, then they must manifest the sublime character. They must reflect the sublime character of Prophet Muhammad in their character. If you do not do this, you are not practicing the customs of the Prophet. And when I say I am not a Muslim, I say it because this is not the time for us to remain Muslim. It is time to become a recipient of divine love. We are followers of love. And this notion is not man-made notion. This concept is divine concept. This concept comes from the source, from the same source which put forward Judaism, Christianity, Islam. According to Quran, the future religion is divine love. And we are living in yesterday's future. Today was future for yesterday. We are living in yesterday's future and today's present. Now there is no future because God's religion is the last religion and the first religion. The religion of soul, the religion of love. They say, according to Quran, Yahud or Nasara are not your friends. But Nasara is not a name of Christians. Nasrani are those who come from a place Nasara, and this place is in the vicinity of Jerusalem. In English, Nasara is known as Nazareth. You must have heard Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And this place is the place where Jesus was born. Nazareth. In Arabic, Nasara. Let me give you another example. For example, we have a Sunni sect in Islam, and in order to give people clear distinction of their sect, they add a word Barelvi. Sunni Barelvi. You must have heard of a man called Mujahid Barelvi. I thought he was Sunni and. But then I realized Mujahid Barelvi is Barelvi because he was born in Bareli Sharif. But he doesn't represent Sunni Barelvi firqa. Now, why do we call Sunni Barelvi Barelvi? Because this firqa was invented or established by Ahmad Raza Khan Fazile Bareli. Bareli is a city in Uttar Pradesh, India, Hindustan. Bareli is a city. Like we have Deobandis in Pakistan, right? There is a madrasa in India, in Haryana, and that is called Darul Uloom Deoband. Deoband is the name of the place. Similarly, Bareli is a city. So, Sunni Barelvi have nothing to do with the city of Bareli, but they are known as Sunni Barelvi, because they believe in a person who was born in Bareli, Ahmad Raza Khan Fazil Bareli. पाकिस्तान में तो बरेलवी कहते हैं लोग, फाजिल बरेलवी थोड़ी होता है, फाजिल बरेली. There is a city or a town in India, Kolhapur. It is best known for sandals. There is a town in India, Rampur, is famous for knives. Similarly, that place Nasara, where Jesus was born, some people in Nasara were enemies of God, enemies of all prophets. Whenever a prophet came to the world, in the surrounding of the area, people of Nasara opposed him and wanted to kill any prophet. Have you heard of a prophet called Zakaria alayhi salatu wassalam? Right? And you must have heard of that story when Zakaria alayhi salatu wassalam was running and the enemy was behind him. Right? The enemy was behind him and he stopped in front of a tree and said to the tree to open up, and the tree opened up and he went inside the tree. Right? Have you heard of this story? And the enemies behind him were really surprised. Where did Zakaria disappear? So Shaitan appeared and Shaitan told his enemies, he is inside the tree. Look, his shirt is coming out a little from the tree. He spotted. And they spotted him, and they took a saw, and they wanted to cut the tree from the middle so that Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam can be killed. His enemies were Nasrani. Those who were after him were Nasranis. Right? Shama'un alayhi salatu wasalam. Samson in English. Have you heard of that movie, Samson Delilah? That movie is about Shama'un alayhi salatu wasalam. Shama'un alayhi salatu wasalam was a well-built, very handsome and really powerful man. And he was so strong that nobody was able to beat him. Nobody could defeat him. And his enemies wanted to know what is the secret behind his strength. So they bribed his wife and said, if you could just tell us why is your husband so strong and what is the secret behind his strength, we would give you a lot of wealth. So his wife asked him, you're so strong, what's the secret? And he smiled. He smiled and didn't tell her. But one day, in some special moment, it came out from his mouth that his strength lies in his body hair. Body hair. So she said, if your hair are gone, your strength is gone. And he said, yes. So one night when he was sleeping, she shaved his body. And his enemies killed him. And those enemies were Nasrani. And this is before the arrival of Lord Jesus Christ. They are called Nasrani because they come from Nasara. And these ignorant scholars of Islam regard Nasranis as Christians. This is why they are mistaken. This is why they say Christians are their enemies. No, Christians are not your enemies. If Christians were your enemies, then how come Prophet Mohammed advised his companions to go and seek asylum with a Christian king whose name was Najashi? This is wrong conception, misleading concept. Let's talk about Jews. Yahud. Yahud is name of a prophet. And he comes from the progeny of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. His followers, his nation, his qawm did not believe in him. God cursed them. Then wherever his qawm went, they created mischief and fitna. This is why God said, Yahud cannot be your friends. But the problem is that followers of Abraham and Moses, you call them, all of them, Yahudis. Yahudis are only those who followed Yahud, who are qawm of Yahud. And Yahud is name of a prophet. If Yahudi is your enemy according to Quran, then Maria Qibtiyya was a concubine of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. कनीज थी मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह की और जू थी, और उनके बतन से हुजूर का एक बेटा भी पैदा हुआ, इब्राहिम। अगर दुश्मन थी तो फिर हुजूर की औलाद क्यों हुई उनसे? अगर यहूदी तुम्हारे दुश्मन हैं तो हुजूर ने यहूदी औरत को कनीज क्यों बनाया? उससे औलाद क्यों हुई? तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब है, खलल वाक़े है तुम्हारे दिमाग में। फिर अभी गारे हिरा का ही दौर था। मारिया क़ब्तिया was a Jew woman, and Prophet Mohammed did not ask her to become a Muslim. Didn't ask her to become a Muslim, because Prophet Mohammed knows the importance of all religions. Prophet Mohammed knew she is a follower of Abraham, it is as good as being Muslim. Because Prophet Muhammad himself comes from the progeny of Abraham. It was Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam who used to pray for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam's arrival into this world. This is why in Islam we call Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there's a title, Dua Ibrahim. Yani Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam Ibrahim alayhi salam ki dua hai. So Maria al-Qibtiyya was a kaniz of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Ibrahim, Prophet Muhammad's son, was born to her. And then in the early days, when Prophet Muhammad started going to cave of Hira, and Gabriel started to appear before Prophet Muhammad. First time he appeared before Prophet Muhammad was running temperature. And he came back home and he said, Khadija, zammiluni, zammiluni, cover me with a blanket, cover me with a blanket. And he was shivering and he was sweating. And he was asking his wife Khadija, what's happening? What's happening to me? What's wrong? Am I about to become a kahin? And she comforted him. And she said, no. You're a good man. Don't say these things. And God is with you. And now this is the initial period, right? The early period. And Prophet Muhammad, to some reason, didn't know what was happening. So in order to obtain some knowledge as to what was going on, Khadija said, I know somebody. And I hope he will tell us what's going on. And she took Prophet Muhammad to somebody that she knew to be a religious man. And this man was a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi. And she took him there. And they were just going towards him. And he came out. And when they reached him, he said, before they could say anything to him, he said, who is this man? He's a prophet of God. Because when you were coming towards me, I saw all the trees going down to his feet. All the trees, all the birds were prostrating to him. And there was a cloud on his head. So the first human being on earth who said Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is a prophet was a Jew rabbi. And you say Jews are your enemies? Shut up, man. Don't mislead faith of many thousand, hundreds and thousands of people. Jews are not your enemies unless you're shaitan. The only reason why you should call Jews your enemy is when you're shaitan. Yaar, in your salat, you send solution to Ibrahim alayhi salam and his al. After salat, you consider them your enemies. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Before you send solution to Prophet Muhammad and his al, you're sending solution to Abraham and his al, his progeny. After salat, you say, these are our enemies. Your mind is screwed up, man. According to Quran, according to Muslim faith, and according to teachings of Sarkar Gaur Shahi, Jews are not our enemies. Messiah Foundation International, Kal Ke Avatar Foundation International, Mehdi Foundation International, were all followers of Sayyidina Gohar Shahi alayhi salatu wasalam. And we do not consider anybody as enemies. Jews are our friends, our brothers. Christians are our friends and our brothers. Hindus are our friends, our brothers. Sikhs are our friends, our brothers. And all those who love humanity, all those who want peace, they're all our brothers and friends. We have no enmity towards anybody. Our mission is love and peace.
Aura TV. Guidance brought to you